Every racer has a comeback story to tell. You won't find an athlete in history that hasn't suffered with at least one setback. The road back from injury is the toughest one. And that is never more true when you're coming back to this place. Your setbacks are sent to test you. Injuries are there to forget, but coming back from them is one thing you should always remember.
I've got a list of injuries.
I've got a few injuries that to be honest, that I sort of struggle with.
No, I broke my wrist, arm, a few bits and pieces, but just the general really.
Broke both my wrists, broke my knuckle, broke my elbow, broke both my legs.
My ankle's probably not in good shape and needs reconstructing a little bit. ACL's gone in both of my knees. And my shoulder's all in the wrong place as well because my collarbone's a bit messed up, so.
Broken left collarbone 3 times, right collarbone once, had it pinned. There's a list of injuries that are associated with racing.
No, we've never had an injury as such to come back to the TT at.
So I'm going to touch the wood on my chair first. I've had injuries in the past, of course. Broken bones and stuff like that, but not
yet really. No, I've had a few, but nothing like too bad, not compared to some.
You don't tend to look at people with injuries, it's too raw on yourself. I've got battered around pretty hefty on a few occasions.
I think when you're into bikes, everybody's pretty much had a lot of injuries. Like when we all sit together, we don't talk about, are you struggling with that? Because everybody's struggling with something. You just deal with it. It's just part of racing, is the injuries that you've got to deal with.
I think you almost just take it in stride. It's just one of the things, it's sort of a hazardous job, and that's one of the hazards to the job, I suppose. So if it does happen, it's something you get you sent through and come back, really.
My worst injury I did in 2015, and most people wouldn't know because it was only 4 weeks before the TT and I didn't really tell anyone. But I crashed in free practice 2 at Alton Park for the British Superbike race. It was about 150 mile an hour crash in the rain, which is not ideal. And I broke a couple of ribs off my spine, so I actually broke the rib off the spine and I broke them in half. I punctured my right lung. I did 3 vertebrae in my back and 2 in my neck.
At the TT in 17, I broke my back, my tailbone, my jaw, my hands, my brain was bleeding.
Different breed. Road race is a different breed.
The one that would stand out the most as the most sort of challenging was I separated my pelvis in 2004. So that was 8 months out of doing anything, let alone racing.
Again, in this job, like I say, everyone has injuries, or every crash, every time you're on the bike, it could be your last time you're on the bike. You're on the limit, and you can always hurt yourself. And
I had a massive crash at a road race at Tangaree 100, and broke my leg in 13 places and dislocated this arm, and I can't straighten it anymore. But so you got physical stuff, but it's also mental for you kind of doubt yourself. I always doubt myself nearly every year coming into the season, but you kind of doubted myself even more. Can I do it again? And is my brain going to allow me to do it again?
And when you have an injury like that, doctors always sort of give you the worst case scenario. They're like, oh, well, hopefully you'll walk again. And you're thinking, dude, I'm going to race motorbikes again. What are you talking about? Walk, that's like an easy target. But, that's the reality of, some of the injuries that we face.
Yeah, but that were a big setback in my career kind of thing, and it took a while to get to where I am now, But if I'd not maybe had that injury, I might have been here sooner, but it's fine. I said it's taken a long time, but we're here now kind of thing, and we're in the mix, shall we say.
I think you build resistance to, challenges through racing anyway. Those are the biggest challenges that give you the most resistance and make you persevere when others would go, well, do you not just want to give up now? And you're like, nah.
Comebacks will always attract doubt. And when the doubters come knocking, you'll need a miracle to prove them all wrong. Adversity is one of life's greatest teachers. If there's one thing to remember from this lesson, it's that the comeback will always outweigh the setback.
Crashed at Black Dub. I think they'd got a 4 or 5 second lead at time as well. I just like lost the front end really. It just started pushing on, and I don't know, at TT you never want to admit you're crashing because you know that's not good.
Oh! It's hit the wall. Oh, it's a big accident there, the Birchall boys.
Yeah, I think there's the one in 2014 that they had. That was pretty horrific.
I remember like trying to get forward. You don't normally move in sidecar, you just sort of sat in your position, but it was just understeering. And I tried to get forward to get some weight on it to try and just get it to turn at last minute, and it just like hit the wall with my right hand and the right side of the bike.
Turn round, didn't it?
Turn round, and I was trying to look where it was going because and next minute we're in a bank and just yeah. And I was looking for Tom, and he was like crawling across road, which sort of meant he were off all right.
I mean, the pair of them are fit lads, you know, so they can take a bump. But I know Ben mullered his hand.
I just smashed my hand to pieces, and then a load of other stuff that we didn't know about till quite a lot later, because I think it was just all concentrated on that, and ended up back in the hospital, and they just said it's annihilated, so you need amputation of at least 2, if not 3 fingers. That it was really tough to get my head around because that it weren't just a crash at TT, which to be relatively okay is you're so thankful for, but that was like the end of TT, end of everything. And John McGuinness sent me a text message, and I didn't really know John that well, and you know, it was really nice of him, and he just said, "Are you boys okay?" And I just said, told him. And he gave me a guy's number. He said, ring this guy.
I damaged my hands just around about the same time. Mike Hayton's the best hand surgeon in the world from Wrightington, Warrington, so I put them two together. And
I just thought, you don't be interested in me. I'm just a sidecar Herbert from Mansfield, and he was amazing. So I had 6 operations. He said, don't do anything, just come straight to me. So I sort of discharged myself from here, went there, but you're full of painkillers, and I didn't know anything about anything else.
You know, because one doctor wanted to take them fingers off. Mike Hayton says, no, we'll have a go putting them on, and you know, we'll keep them together and try this and try that. And then now he's got a pretty, I mean, he's still a bit manky, but it's a working hand.
And he managed to save these 2 and that really, but I mean, it doesn't do much anymore. Can't pick my nose with it.
Can't hold peanuts very well anymore.
No, it's just, there's no gap, it just, everything falls on the floor. And we were good to come back, but then another dimension started for me at TT because I didn't want to just come back. We'd crashed whilst leading, and it was going to be another win, you know? And there's no way that I was going to come back if I couldn't be at that level again. I couldn't just ride around.
It was never like a difficult decision because we never stopped pushing you, and you know, you never stopped trying. Never got demotivated, let's say, so it wasn't like, come on, we can do it. You know, it was always coming. It was always going to happen, sort of thing.
I may never have even spoke about it until now, but that spurs your motivation, and it's this place. Well, this place more than being in Grand Prix. That was the...
Yeah, once you've had a win and get on that top step, you know it's within your reach.
And the thought of not being able to come back to that or feel that again is...
You'd knock walls down to get back here.
The Birchall brothers, Ben and Tom, are off the line.
The Birchalls are absolutely flying.
The Birchall brothers take their second TT win, and here they come, the Mansfield pairing, Tom and Ben Birchall, over the line to take their win today. That is the 4th TT win they've had.
It will be their 8th TT career win. History is being made again at the Isle of Man TT.
It's an absolutely epic performance from Ben and Tom Birchall. Their 11th TT win in a row. It takes them to a total of 14.
At the minute, they're pretty unstoppable at the minute.
Still come back, still win, still dominate, still set the limits for everyone else to reach
and they're so enthusiastic, you know. They only get 2 bites of the cherry a year, you know. So when you're up in double figures in wins, you know, you're like Molly with 17 and stuff. It's pretty special.
History has a cruel tendency to repeat itself. The similarities between past and present are no more evident than at the Isle of Man TT. And when you've competed for as long as Molly has, then you start to lose count of the comebacks you've made. You brush those setbacks off and start again. But there's always that one memory, that one setback that will never, ever fade.
2006, I had a fucking massive accident at Rencullen. Missed the TT, came back following year, won both.
And incredibly, for the second time in 3 days, and for exactly the same reasons, Dave Molyneux, who almost didn't start this race at all, now finds himself in the lead. You have to finish in order to finish first, and nobody knows that better than him.
When I come off in 2006, I still couldn't hold a welding torch in February the following year. And I had to go private to get it fixed, shoulder, because Nobles actually said, you'll never ride a bike again. In fact, you'll never manually work again. But not many people know that. That's because I didn't lose the arm, it was still there. But still takes a lot of getting over. When you've got one arm out of action, you've only one other arm to steer with. If you've got one foot out of action, these days they stick a thumb brake and move the bloody gear change to one side. It's an obstacle you can get over.
Like a lot of guys have a lot of different things people don't notice. Like Nathan Harrison has a right-hand gear change on his bike because his left leg's not in good shape. And
yeah, he's another one, isn't he? He's very Connor Cummins mould, you know. Bashed his soul to bits, really. I mean, he's just telling me, broke this, broke that, snapped this, snapped rods in here, rods in there. I'm like, he's still got a lot of metalwork in his leg. I'm like, whew. And you know, he's on the right-hand gear shift.
I mean, Nathan Harrison is another one. You know what I mean? Nathan had a bad accident at Derby, you know, when he was a young nipper, and that's why he has the gear change on the right-hand side now, because his left ankle doesn't work. You know, it's just mental, innit? You know, the boys have had to adapt the bike to make it suit him.
So in 2015, I had a crack up at Derby, broke both my collarbones, my back, both my femurs, my left lower leg. I snapped that in 2 places and smashed my left ankle. So I've got very little movement in that now, which has meant I've got to have a right-hand gear change.
And he's super fast with that disability. It's fantastic, isn't it? So
he's a determined little. He's got. It's that edgy, bit edgy. He's dead like silent assassin.
I hope to get here before my injury, and I managed to get here with an injury 2 to 3 years out of racing bikes, and now I'm at this point.
He wants it. He wants it maybe too much. I'm a bit worried about him, I have to say. You know, well, you're Manx, aren't you, for a start, which is pressured up. You're in the factory on the team, more pressure. He wants to do it more than anybody on the grid. He's like probably a little bit like me, you know. He's just like eats, sleeps, drinks, bloody Isle of Man. He knows all the history. You know, he's got this big opportunity and he's got it with both hands. So I wish I were 24 and sat on the factory on the bike. You know, looking down that road of where I could end up, you know, he's just got small steps and then he'll be away.
Comebacks don't play by the rules. There's no set of guidelines to read or help you along the way. But if there's one thing we've learned about them, it's that you're only as big as your next one.
We're underway, the lights have gone out. And we were riding with Nathan Harrison. John McGuinness was right beside him. But 2 Honda men are fighting fairly well. The Honda Racing UK men of Nathan Harrison and John McGuinness as well. Keep an eye out on them, resplendent in their traditional Honda colours.
All I was looking forward to all that year was going road racing. Obviously, it's a factory Honda team. I couldn't wait. It did start to go a bit wrong at the Northwest 200.
Rutter, Hillier, Nathan Harrison, John McGuinness, look at this.
We started off 5th. I dropped back to 6th when I was running in 6th, having a good battle with James Hillier, John and Michael Rutter. And in the second to last lap, I don't remember much after that really.
So here we go, Nathan Harrison and John McGuinness. Oh, Harrison's off. Harrison has gone down. That's a big old crash just there.
I had a crash coming out of church and ended up getting knocked out, breaking my collarbone and breaking my wrist, and that was the end of that.
unfortunately he crashed in the race, and it was just so sad for them all, really.
As a racer, you never want to believe it. So especially someone like me, I've been through a lot of things that are a lot worse than that. And I was like, I got my first shot with Honda at the TT, and it's round the corner. I'm not giving up. But it's also a way to like keep a focus.
I just hoped that Nathan would get it to the start line, you know, because I know how much him and his family put into him going racing as well. So there's a lot of effort there as well, and of course the same can be said for Lee.
Like Lee Johnson's the same, isn't he? You know, Lee had a big slap there last year at the Northwest.
Lee crashed in the morning, and I crashed in the evening. So I knew about it at the time, but weirdly, because obviously the way that your brain works, when I got knocked out, that was one of the things I was constantly saying in the hospital all night. I was like, how's Lee? Where is Lee? But I was asking it like 1,000,001 times. We did crash at the same spot as well, funnily enough, but I crashed on the exit coming out of the turn and he crashed going into the turn.
I was following Lee in that Supersport qualifying session at the Northwest, and I seen him go down, and that was horrendous. And then obviously the whole sort of wait to see how he was.
We're going to lift this bike. Can we slide him out into the road? We've got red flags. Right? And your shout for red.
Honestly, it was hard, and honestly, I was in some bad places in the hospital. I think the hardest part was the hardest part at the start was in my head. I had let everybody down. Do you know what I mean?
It's just hard to describe it. Obviously, you're devastated for yourself, then you're gutted for like all the team, all the effort the lads have put into the bikes. It's not just a matter of you getting on the bike and riding it, it's all the infrastructure that's around you riding the bikes. Because without them, you wouldn't ride the bike, and without you, you wouldn't be riding their bike, if that makes sense. So I think you'd be gutted not just for yourself, it's for the whole team, it's a team effort.
Because I run the team, I'm the one that speaks to the sponsors and does the deals. And like since I've run my own team, it's always been good. Like we've won the Northwest or we won a TT, and I've always like sort of stood at the end of the year and went, I've promised these people this and they've got value for money, do you know what I mean? And I literally woke up in the hospital and I was like, I've let my boss down, I've let the lads down, the sponsors down, and it was like, it was hard to be honest. And it took me a fair while to figure that out.
So it was just really bad, really unfortunate, and you know, hopefully they can come back in 24 and be even stronger.
I think this time is the first time where I've like been worried that I'm not going to be fit to, you know, like when I come round, like they tried to give me a prosthetic shoulder and different things because it was that bad, you know what I mean? And that's like a really important part of a motorbike racer is your shoulders. Like a lot of careers have ended, so they literally said, listen, we've done our best. It's like an 8 or 10 hour surgery or whatever, but it's going to take time to realise. And I think now, like we're a few months out, it's looking good. It's looking good for the fact that it's not going to die or the bone and everything, but it's still going to be just a movement then and that. So this is the first time now where I've had to like, it's not my decision, do you know what I mean? I have to wait to see if it is going to happen or whatever.
I'm sure he'll be on the start line, the TT, this 24, he's going to be there, isn't he? Because when everyone first happens, everyone's like, oh yeah, that's it now, you'll retire, and you're like, no.
The mind's a wonderful thing, so if someone told me before my crash, had I done enough, like I believe I've done more than what ability I have. I think I've like wringed the cloth out with what little bit of talent I have. I've achieved a lot. So in my head I always thought, right, if I stop now, I'm content. But now it's like someone's took my toys off me. So there's nothing else has happened. I haven't won any more or any less, but now because someone else has said, well, you're gonna have to stop, all of a sudden I'm like, well, why? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know why that is, or the brain, but in my head, I need to get better and I need to have a go. If I'm not fit to do it properly, I've got no interest. I have no interest in coming here to ride round, do you know what I mean? I've come here because I wanna, there's the same danger for taking part as there is trying to win, do you know what I mean? So there's no, what's the point?
Not every rider made it to the start line in 2023. When you've missed 1 year at the TT, the reality is that you've actually been away for 2. So, keep an eye out for the comebacks. There's more of them happening than you think. So, what have we learned here? What can we take away? What's the one true moral to the comeback story? Possibly that it's never too late to make one.
John has done amazing, again, just shows you the class of the fella. You know, he's never really got injured. He's never really, through his whole big 30-year career, he's hardly ever been injured.
John's like had a long career from racing without many injuries. Like he's had a few crashes, but compared to some, maybe not as bad. But that one certainly at the Northwest took its toll on him. And
when I was end over ending down the road at the Northwest, I thought I was going to die. I really did. I thought I'm just waiting for the bang and that'll be it. And it was unbelievably frustrating. And when I was laid there, I'd broken my back and I couldn't really feel my legs and things, and I thought, oh, I'm done. I suppose it's a decent comeback if we're talking about comebacks, because I'll have been 46-year-old, I think, at the time. So it's hard, and you know, you're 46 to grow. I had to grow 52 millimeters of my leg back, so it was a lot going on, and I got addicted to morphine, addicted to oral morphine, I got addicted to tramadol. I got in a bit of a mess. It was a long pedal, you know, and the way it all worked out with the Norton and then the COVID, and it was a long time really. I hadn't been away really from doing it competitive. 17 was wiped out, 18 was, I got back for the Classic TT and got to ride the track, which I won that race on the pattern, which was mega.
People sort of write him off a little bit now. I wouldn't write him off. He can always be in the mix, even now at 50 plus years of age.
It's incredible that he can do that at his age. You know, forgetting about the fact that he had a massive leg injury a couple of years ago. Just to do what he's doing at his age is impressive enough. So when you add that into it, it's yeah, fair play to the boy.
100%. And John, you know, the lap speeds he was achieving this year, 52 years old, quite special, very, very, very special. To achieve what he does and look so safe, no, full credit to him.
Unreal, isn't he? It's unreal. Unreal again, to come back again from taking a big slapping and then get back on it. But again, he was never going to give up.
Hey, listen, I mean, the TT is not everything to everybody, you know. To me, it's really important and it's part of my journey, but, you know, it was just getting back to, you know, I want to ride my bicycle with my daughter when I get to 50, 60, you know. I want to do other things as well, you know. I didn't want everything to stop and be not normal anymore, so, but in the back of my mind I want to race again.
As long as mentally you want to ride, you should always ride. Because people say it to me every day, they go, oh, John's too old now, he's too old. And you're like, no, he's still fit, you know, he can still bike fit, he's still switched on.
Being like road racers, that's, you learn to adapt, and you know, I think it shows a little bit more perhaps with this race is that we do it for different reasons, you know. We do it because we want to do it, and we find a way to get around things to make it happen and to be out there racing. So, you know, I think it's something that most of us racers would have done the same if we'd have been in that situation. It's that magic feeling that you can't get anywhere else, you know. I think it's almost a medicine for some of us to, you know, that is your motivation to get better, is to come back here and ride and get that feeling again.
It's the single biggest motorcycle event in the world, that's without question now.
You know, like the Isle of Man TT, and their eyes just like open up and they go, what, you do that?
Oh, well, there's some that
There's a few of them would wet their pants all right.
The hardest and the craziest, most dangerous race in the world.
The only word that ever describes the Isle of Man TT races is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable?
Probably unbelievable. It'll be an experience, all right.
It's not normal. It's a little bit insane.
What have I just witnessed? Like,
It's like, surely this isn't right, but it is. It's awesome.
there is not anything that you've ever seen or experienced before in your life that is like this.